Hello and welcome back to the Skipper's View podcast. My name is Brett. That's Hagen. As always, brought to you by Chinook Seedery, our lead seed partner. Go use the Skipper's View discount code to get 10% off your sunflower seed needs. Hagen, good to see you, bud. We've had a long week. I had another wedding, shocker, in New York this past weekend, and that's number 9 on the year out of 16. So if you're listening, you know I am broke. So go ahead and subscribe to us. That being said, let's talk. We got so much baseball going on. Let's talk hot and heavy. Let's start with Hagen, your Mets. So I put what are their playoff chances down as my main topic because they lost 8 in a row. Then they had Pete Alonso come hit an awesome walk-off yesterday, and now it's a cluster right now in the National League. So, what are your thoughts? Where's your head at with the Mets right now?
I've been asked the question, are the Mets going to make the playoffs by multiple people, my friends. My mom asked me that yesterday, and I told her, I said, if you would have asked me yesterday morning before that game when the Pete Alonso walk-off home run, I probably would have told you they weren't making the playoffs. When you lose 8 straight games and just the teams just looked awful. There was no life, it felt like. It just felt like they were full-on collapsing, like the typical Mets in the past. And then you have a big Pete Alonso walk-off home run, which was very similar to his one he hit against the Brewers last year in Game 3 of the wild card. And now I'm going to say they're going to make the playoffs. But the big thing for me is how do they look tomorrow in the first game back after that? Because the team has been saying they've been preparing well. They feel like they're doing everything right. They're just not winning ball games. And even when they're taking leads late in the games, they're not winning. It's known that they're the only team to not have a ninth inning comeback this year. So I'm very excited to see tomorrow how the team comes after the game after what they just went through with that Pete Alonso walk-off home run. Does that invigorate them to go out there and put them on a winning streak here to make them go into the playoffs with some steam there? Or do they do what they had been doing all year, and do they just roll over again? Because if they go out and they roll over tomorrow, I'll probably not feel very great about this team the rest of the season. And I know this is a day-by-day case, especially gets emotional these times where you win 2 games, you lose 2 games, it changes very heavily. I mean, there was a slight day where the Mets were out of the wild card and they were half game back, and then you wake up in the morning and they're back in the wild card. So it's just a lot of shit right now, and then at National League wild card, and who's going to get this last spot. But I mean, Fangraphs gives them an 80.7% chance to make it. I would say that's a little too high right now. I think the Giants deserve more than a 9.6% chance to make the playoffs.
I agree. I think the Giants are playing great baseball right now. Might as well talk about it now. Since we're talking about it, they just called up one of their top prospects, Bryce Eldridge. So for those who don't know who Bryce Eldridge is, he's a massive bat, minor league system right now. I think you guys can see my screen. But this year, right now in the minors, he's batting 260. He has an 843 OPS. If you didn't notice as well, look at the guy's size. He's 6'7", 240. This is Aaron Judge type stature. He crushed if he's the next guy who hits balls, like look at all these frames: O'Neal Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz, John Carlos Stanton, Aaron Judge, all these big boys who have long, extensions. They smack the ball. Is this the guy, the next one? And is it the right time for, is this the spark plug the Giants really need to will their way into the playoffs?
I mean, I said it last episode that you can't really rely on rookies to be a spark plug for you, but you can also, the situation they have right now, Laura Flores, who's been struggling for him, he's been pretty bad, honestly, since about the end of May. This is the type of guy. He's been very great the last month in AAA with the River Cats, so this is the time to call him up. Obviously, you're a game and a half back right now, and obviously you can see in a day you can cut that to a half game. If you have a few days left, I mean, there's 12 games left. I think you got to try anything here, especially when Wilmer Flores hasn't been that good for you lately. He has just not been a great ball player the last couple of months. So why not try this? It can't be, honestly, worse than what he was doing anyways. And we see last year, I know, I don't want to bring the Mets into this, but we saw last year with Luis Angel Acuna. There's just some guys, you light a fire underneath them when they come up, knowing that every game matters and they're going to play the most meaningful baseball of their life to make their MLB debut as well. You're kind of throwing him into the fire on a sink or swim type of thing, but I think you also kind of see too is he built for this? I know it's hard you can't base a dude's how good he is off 12 games in the major leagues when he comes up as a rookie for the first time, but you can for sure see if he's going to be the real deal or not by how he performs here.
Yeah, totally agree. You can't live and die by rookies, but Who knows? Could be a spark plug. Probably not, but we'll see. Very exciting just seeing a 6'7" guy come out here and going to do this. So let's jump. Obviously Brewers have clinched are the first team to 90 wins this year. The Phillies are right on their heels at the 90 win cusp. They clinched. We know the Rockies and Nationals are eliminated, but really, getting excited. And I'll go over to the wild card tab here for the National League. You could see that the Mets are making it super interesting with the Reds, the Diamondbacks, and the Giants to close out. I would say that the Cardinals 4 games out with about 13 games on average across the league to play left. I would, even with Nolan Arenado returning, recently from the IL stint, I still think they're out. I just don't think they have the pitching to go out and get this done. Let's jump to the American League though. So, excuse me, the Yankees. I wrote about them today. They're so hit or miss, Hagen, this team. You know the Yankees are losing like 7-0 right now to the Twins. It's a top 8.
I just think
7-0.
it's crazy because, like, if you asked earlier yesterday, I felt like all the Yankee fans were all in on them going and winning the American League.
Look where the Twins are on this. They're freaking eliminated from playoff contention. They're playing spoiler. This game means nothing to them. And the Yankees, who, beg my pardon, did the Yankees get a series win over American League East and longtime rival Red Sox this past weekend? The answer is yes. They won 2-1. They could have swept. They didn't, and that's because Garrett Crochet shoved for 12 strikeouts. My issue with this is that the Yankees just got they just got rocked by Detroit. That's a playoff team. They're going to be and they got rocked by them. I think it was 23-2 in 2 games across 18 innings. Detroit beat up on the Yankees 23-2 in run differential. The Yankees, I don't know what it is with the consistency with this team, and it wasn't the pitching because guys like Luis Heel came out there and had good performances this week. Same with Cam Schlittler has been great. It's just inconsistent. Like if one night the bats aren't going and the pitching is, or vice versa, they need to cooperate. Come together more as a team as they approach. But the Yankees are in first place in the wild card. Boston's right on their tail. Houston's right behind them, and now Texas, who's been hot, very hot recently, and they just got Dolis Garcia back from the injured list. So I think that with them, and then we got to mention the Guardians too. They're only 2.5 games back. The American League East is also heating up just as much as the National League, I would say, even though we named the episode National League. But I think this is going to be a very, very exciting next couple weeks for us to see who do you think is going to be the odd man out here? I should ask you that for the American League. Or the odd 2 teams out. You got to pick 2 teams out, honestly, that are going to be out.
I don't believe in the Guardians, honestly, but it's just hard because I was a Texas believer all year for the Rangers, and then I gave up on them. Now they start playing baseball when everyone gives up on them when they lose their best player, and Corey Seager goes down. You lose Nathan Eovaldi, he goes down as well. I want to believe in that team to hop in the playoffs there, but I can't pick against Boston or Houston right now. So I think I have to say chalk as it is right now. Have the Yankees, Red Sox, Astros stay in there with the Mariners obviously winning the division, but I don't know. I think whoever misses it's going to miss by no more than a game.
Yeah, it's super tight. And this is exactly why we preach all the time. Like it's early in May, it's early in June. But these series matter. You can't go if you need to beat up on teams that you could rack wins up against. Wins are your best friend. Look at Detroit. They racked up a shit ton of first half wins this season. They knew they were going to slump at one point, and in fact, they did slump at one point. And guess what? They're right back to where they were because and they're not stressing. They got their shit handled in the first half of the season. It's a long season. Yeah, everyone goes through these bumps, but really tough to see, especially Boston losing Roman Anthony. That kind of took the air out of their lungs as of late. Yankees, I think a lot of guys took this as not an off year because Garrett Cole wasn't, but they did. I don't think they took themselves as seriously as contenders this year, the Yankees. I truly don't. And it kind of shows that they didn't. And then Houston, they're going to fight. They're going to be scrappy. They missed one of the best hitters in all of baseball for a majority of the season. I think they would have more wins if they took care of that. And then Mariners, we said from last year, it was only addressed fully at the deadline this year, which maybe it wasn't enough. Maybe you needed to do it earlier on to get more wins the first half of the season. The Mariners have one of the best pitching rotations in baseball. Brian Wu, he's a walking quality start. He just came off a 13 strikeout performance against the Angels where they got a win. It's the bats for the Mariners that might cost them now, I think. And I just think that because these teams did not address their issues earlier on, they're now in jeopardy of missing the playoffs. That's my take on the American League.
And on the American League too, what's going to be very interesting for the next time we talk about this too is obviously Houston has that last wild card spot and Texas is 2 games back. They're starting a series against each other right now. So that Texas could overtake this spot by the next time we talk.
Absolutely. Let's jump. One last thing I wanted to say about Aaron Judge. We really can't have an episode without talking about Aaron Judge. So for those who missed it, Aaron Judge hit his 358th and 361, I believe it was, career Yankee home runs, and now he only trails Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, and Babe Ruth. Hagen, how many seasons till Judge catches Gehrig at 497? I think it is. I'll take a look at that real quick.
493. So he's 130 behind right now. I'm going to say 4. 4 seasons, hit it early in the first half in that 4th year.
That's gonna be close. That's a good one to see. But let's take a look now. Other history involving historic Yankees, but it's not involving Aaron Judge. And you put this one on the board. So talk to us about his MVP running mate here, Aaron Judge in the American League.
Yeah, very fitting that we talk about Aaron Judge and go right to Cal Raleigh here, who the other day he tied Mickey Mantle with the most home runs ever by a switch hitter in a single season with 54, which Mantle accomplished the feat in 1961. So this is something that's been around for 64 years. This record stood for it. And with 54 home runs, Cal Raleigh to tie him. 34 of those came as a left-handed hitter so far, and 20 of those came as a right-handed hitter. I tried to find the Mickey Mantle, what his splits were, but I could not find the data behind that at all. But, I mean, it's incredible, Cal Raleigh. It seems like the last few times we've talked about him and Aaron Judge for what it's worth, it's always this history record breaking. I mean, Cal Raleigh over a month ago, it seems like, broke the catcher home run record. Now he's most likely going to hit another home run and break Mickey Mantle's record here and have the most home runs ever by a switch hitter. It's truly incredible what we're watching right now, to go along also with being a above-average defensive catcher.
Yeah. Dude, the seasons these guys are putting up it's insane. It's so entertaining. I don't understand why everyone isn't a baseball fan. It's really hard. I know, like, easier. Obviously, if your parents throw you into some, and I only played baseball up until about 8th grade. I was not a serious baseball player, but I love the game, and it's like I'm jealous of those, truly jealous of those who don't know what I'm talking about. Because they have so much to learn about the game of baseball, and they have so much to uncover and unfold if they were to break into fanhood of this game. And right now we're just seeing so many guys: Shohei, Cal, Judge, Stanton, De La Cruz, you name it, Bobby Witt Jr., and Skeensy. We're just naming guys who are just breaking records, it seems like, all the time right now. This is such a baseball renaissance. It's a great time to be alive. Let's jump. Let's keep moving. Let's talk about this. So I thought, as playoff season is coming around, Will Leach of MLB.com put out a really good article, and I don't want to ruin it for everyone talking about it on here, but there were a certain amount of players he listed about who needs a ring most. And obviously there's about 8 guys he listed. I want to talk to you about probably the top 3 guys that I've listed here, Hagen. Top 3, and then we'll talk about Stanton. So Harper, Judge, and Machado. We've done our talk about Judge, and I'll knock him out easily because we all know what Judge needs. You're a Yankee greats. Guess unfortunately it comes with the stress of they win titles, and that's why they're great. Judge needs one bad. Harper, who's also I don't even want to say the word fringe. Do you think he's locked into the Hall of Fame?
I mean, I think he's got to be pretty close right now. I think he has a very solid case to make it in if he retires right now, but he's for sure going to make it.
And Bryce Harper, we know he's one of the best playoff players ever. And then we got Manny Machado, 7-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, 2-time Silver Slugger. He's got a career, almost 1,200 hits. He's sorry, not 1,200 hits. He's at 2,100 almost hits. He's at 2,059 runs. He's got over almost 1,100 career runs scored. He's got almost 1,200 RBIs, and he's got 367 bombs. So very likely next season we're going to see this guy north of 400 bombs. We're going to see him have perennial All-Star, obviously. We know he's got the glove. What are your thoughts? Who needs the title most, Machado, Harper, or Judge at this point?
Obviously these are guys that are in the playoffs this year. I think Trout is, if you put the whole league, I think Trout's the number one here. But on this list out of these guys who are going to be in the playoffs, my answer here has got to be Bryce Harper. I mean, this guy is at 16 years old. This guy was on the cover of Sports Illustrated saying he was the chosen one in baseball. He graduated from high school at 17 years old, went to play JUCO baseball, was the number one overall pick as a 17, 18-year-old kid, went to the Nationals, came up at 19 years old, won Rookie of the Year, won 2 MVPs. He was a great player, franchise player for the Nationals. Wasn't able to get a ring for him there. He leaves, they immediately win a ring. Comes to Philadelphia, is the savior for Philadelphia. They've been one of the best teams in all of baseball since he's joined Philadelphia. He's talked about it before. He's always wanted the ring. Like, that's something that's been his main goal, something he's always looked forward to. And I think Bryce Harper deserves the ring more than anybody. I think Bryce Harper, what he's really done for the sport, he's been at a few different career arcs too. And he kind of was the hothead when he first came up, with the kid with his hair on fire. He was kind of a douche a little bit when he came up here. And then he's gotten a little older. He's got more calm. He's one of the best postseason players that we have in this generation right now. And I think Bryce Harper gets a lot of disrespect. And I don't think people talk about him enough for what he's done for the sport, what he's done to grow it. Like, I mean, even 10 years ago when I started watching baseball, Bryce Harper was one of those guys with Mike Trout that was growing the game globally, honestly. I think Bryce Harper deserves a ring more than anybody else here, and I really hope he gets one before he retires.
Dude, I outside of Judge, I was trying not to be biased. It's Bryce Harper. It's Bryce Harper, man. He is literally, he was Mr. Baseball. Like, that's the face of baseball, I think, for like a lot of people out there. And he's not treated as so because everyone doesn't stop talking about, including us. We're just as guilty. Talking about Shohei all the time and Judge and other players like Paul Skeens. Bryce Harper, for a time with Mike Trout, these guys were the faces of baseball. And the difference is Harper's had a lot more shots at a World Series than Mike Trout. So I would really like to see Harper do it, especially because Trout cannot, win a World Series this year due to the fact that his team will not be playing for one. So I think that's a sick article. I read the whole thing earlier. Go read it by Will Leach. Give him his credit. Hopefully he'll talk to me one day. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, let's keep moving on. Let's talk about another dude who's been racking up this year, and that's Nick Kurtz. Hagen. Nick Kurtz, we've been bringing up a lot more on this episode as the season goes on. Dude, he is. I think he's. Is he the new Jordan?
I mean, I kind of like that comp, just a big lefty that hits the ball very, very hard. I mean, we have it here. He just hit the ball 493 feet for a grand slam. The longest grand slam in Statcast history that came the other day. And it was the longest home run by a player this year, too, in the major leagues. And what's crazy about it, too, it went over the scoreboard in dead center. It was insane. Like, even just watching their teammates' reactions, Lawrence Butler had an amazing reaction on the video. You see him turn around, watch the ball, and you can see him on camera at second base. Just gasp. Just how far he hit that baseball. It's incredible what Nick Kurtz is doing. I mean, I said it last episode that he's not even just becoming one of the best rookies or first basemen. Like, he's showing he's one of the best hitters in all Major League Baseball.
Dude, 100%. I like Nick Kurtz is like in fantasy, especially fantasy baseball, which I'm super competitive in. I feel like every year I get super stressed about who I should take, who I should not take. I have zero doubt with taking Nick Kurtz next year at any round. I'm all in on him. I think his approach is insanely good. I think he's super calm, collected at the plate. And I think that, it sucks I can't say Oakland. The Athletics, I think they struck gold with this one. I really do. I know that's an easy take to say now that we've seen 5.1 WAR first year, but 5.1 WAR, north of 30 bombs, north of 80 runs scored, north of 80 RBIs scored by the when we're not even done with the season. This guy could have like 30, 90, 90 at the end of his rookie season with maybe a 6 WAR. He's got a 176 OPS plus. It's insane. It's
I mean,
I'm happy for the Athletics.
what makes it even more insane too is he's going to do it in less than 120 games. He's only played in 105 right now. Obviously, his BWAR right now is a 5.1, and that's taking into account as a first baseman too. First basemen do not rack up WAR at all. I mean, besides DH, they rack up the least amount of WAR typically, just the positional adjustment there. So it's incredible what he's doing. Obviously, an OPS over 1,000, an OPS plus of 176, 32 home runs in 105 games. I mean, this we talked about a few episodes ago about how many guys were going to hit 50 home runs. If this guy was here by opening day, he would be one of them as well.
Dude, that's such a good point. He absolutely would be one of these guys. And that's crazy. We've never had more than 4. We're staring down the barrel of 5, and we could have had 6 guys hit 50 home runs this year if Nick Kurtz was up from day one. It's a shame, what's it called? Time manipulation here with Nick Kurtz. Not actually. I don't know if he is going to be punished at all, or the Athletics are going to be punished for not playing him enough. I doubt it. I'm sure he's got enough playing time this year.
I mean, they'll just lose that year of service time that they manipulated just because he's going to win the Rookie of the Year. So he's going to get that full year of service time on his ledger after this year.
Yeah. So let's keep moving though. As Nick Kurtz has been a dog, let's talk about. We already talked about Bryce Eldridge. Bubba Chandler, another guy, high-end prospect. High-end prospect. For those who don't know, he's also out of the a newly found pitching factory up in Pittsburgh. So Bubba Chandler, his second career start, takes a perfect game into the 6th inning. This is against the Nationals. He had 7 Ks, and he had 18 whiffs on 38 swings in a 6-inning outing. It was awesome. So Hagen, Jared Jones, Mitch Keller, Paul Skeens, Bubba Chandler, and we're not even talking Braxton Ashcraft. And I think there's like 1 or 2 more guys I'm not even thinking about that they have in their arsenal right now. Is this the best rotation in baseball in 2 years?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it matters how Jared Jones comes back from his injury, obviously. And we all Skeens is going to be healthy. He's going to still be one of the best pitchers on earth. Bubba Chandler, obviously, was a top pitching prospect. He has the stuff that shows that you just said 18 whiffs. The stuff is incredible from him. I think it could be. It's definitely going to be up there. I think Mitch Keller will obviously regress a little bit, but I mean, Bubba Chandler, Jared Jones, and Paul Skeens, I really don't care who your 4 and your 5 are if you have those 3 at the top of your rotation. And it was great to see this too from Bubba Chandler. After his last outing, he went 2 2/3 with 9 earned runs. He only struck out 3, walked 3. Then he comes back with taking a perfect game in the 6th inning. It was incredible to see from Bubba Chandler.
I think that. I was also missing, by the way, 24-year-old Hunter Barco. He's in AAA. He's knocking on the door. He'll probably be up next year. He's a lefty. And Seth Hernandez, he just took, I think, in the first round this year. He's not going to be up for a couple of years, but he's their 3rd-ranked prospect at age 19. So and Thomas Harrington as well, another AAA guy, 24 years old. They have a lot of guys coming up. They really do. Did not think this was going to be a Pittsburgh Pirate pitching factory episode, but always happy to talk about Pittsburgh's team. Let's keep moving, though. We talked about Seattle. We talked about Bryce Eldridge. Let's talk about Toronto. They called up one of their young guns, Trey Savage. So I didn't have his page loaded. Hagen, do you know much about Trey Savage in the meantime while I'm pulling this up?
I wasn't big on Trey Savage. Obviously, I just know he was a highly touted prospect. Obviously, MLB Pipeline has him as the 25th ranked prospect. But obviously, I just after watching his highlights tonight, I definitely am familiar with him now. I know more about him. Obviously, went 5 innings tonight, 3 hits, 1 run, 9 strikeouts. I mean, the stuff looks electric from him. I mean, it's a very over the top slot. I know a lot of the data nerds are big into him a lot, so yeah, I'm definitely going to get very familiar with Trey Savage after what I saw today.
Kind of looks like Jeb. That's what I saw. Like the first thing I saw when I saw this picture 6'4, 225 pounds. This year in the minor leagues, 160 strikeouts in less than 100 innings. He also had a sub 1 whip with a 3.12 ERA. And this is minor league baseball. People, that is disgusting. The stat line is gross. So I can see why people are buying into him. I was not big on him in my dynasty leagues, not because I don't trust Trey Savage. I'm not a big Toronto development guy. It's just not my thing. I feel like Toronto, they're kind of more like the Giants, where they could develop a few players, but I think they really do a good job of like getting the second tier market guys. They either get older veterans like on deals, or obviously they locked up Vladdy, but there's a homegrown guy. I'm talking like they don't go out there. They haven't landed the big fish that they've hoped to land. Like they were looking to get Judge, they didn't get him. Neither did the Giants. They were looking at Ohtani, so were the Giants. Neither of them got him. You know what I'm talking about? Like it's like they're active. They're just not developing like the way I look at Tampa Bay or Pittsburgh, even the Mets pitching organization at this point. So, good luck to Mr. Savage. I think he's going to be really good. Finally, Salvador Perez joins the 300 home run and the 1,000 RBI club. And this happened on the same swing, actually. I don't know if you caught this, but Salvador Perez continuing to do cool things at his age.
I mean, yeah, it's just incredible to see him do this. And what makes it cool to me as well is that he's done it his entire career with the Kansas City Royals. I mean, Just Baseball put out a tweet the other day that he joined Johnny Bench as the only catcher to have 300 home runs, all with the same team. It's cool to see this too. Obviously, at this point in his career, where he's starting to slow down a little bit. Obviously, he regressed a little bit. Then he turned it back on a couple of years ago and showed he's still a very good player. But it's just awesome to see this, especially when the Royals are still in playoff contention. We talked about it a little bit earlier. And also, too, being the captain now. I think it's kind of cool when you're the captain of a franchise that hasn't had the most historical, they're not the most historical franchise by any means. Obviously, you have the World Series back in 2015. But it's cool because Salvador Perez was there for that team there. He was a part of that World Series team, and he's the captain of this team now. And it's always special when a guy spends his whole career with one team and he's able to achieve milestones like this.
Absolutely. And I know Dean loves it. I like it as well. Like, even though I like my guys getting paid, right? First and foremost, I'm always for an athlete getting paid. And I say that I sorry, I'm getting tongue tied here. I understand it doesn't always work out where you get this, like the Pete Alonso situation. We all thought he wasn't going to be a Met at some point. I would have loved, it looks like he's a Met. I don't know if he's going to stay, but I would love him to be a Met for life. Like Pete Alonso's a Met. I think that the Mets, have provided a good home for Pete Alonso. I don't want him to go to another team. And it's kind of the same concept with Salvi here. Like he's not on the most historical team, but he is a legend because he is a Royal. And I know guys leave their teams for money and issues. Like you got to go get yours. But I would just like to see more guys like the Pete Alonsos, the Salvies, the Judges of the world, stay with one team for their careers. And I know that's never ever going to happen, especially as expansion in baseball happens and there's just more money thrown into it. But it is nice as somewhat of a baseball traditionalist. Let's jump to the MLB news and injuries. So we had the big one of the weekend, which I would say was Skubal. He was pulled from his start, left side tightness. He's on track to make his next start. Good news. But and that was a flash. Like everyone kind of like saw the alert, like he got pulled. And it was like, what? Like that people don't realize how good Tarek Skubal is. Like I think he is like the make or break of the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry, Detroit Tigers. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. If if they announce like Skubal's out for the year, I don't think a single person would even look at Detroit at all as a contender in the American League.
No one would pick them to win their first series. And it doesn't matter who they played; they would not be favorited. It's that big of a heart sink into our stomach moment. Anthony Volpe this is, I don't know if you've heard anything about this. Essentially, I think he got hurt earlier this year, partially torn labrum, shoulder injury, got a cortisone injection. He's rehabilitating it. He's been out 5-6 games, and Calabaro has been playing shortstop for them. So Volpe's been having a down year. You don't like to see it. But maybe this explains why he's been down, both defensively and with the bat. He's not, maybe he's hesitating diving for some stuff. Maybe he's hesitating the way he approaches some balls in the field. Maybe he's approaching a different swing. I haven't analyzed it, but this makes a lot more sense that a guy who's won a Gold Glove in the last 2 years, who's not even 26 years old yet, showed so much promise. And then it's just like, this is let's be honest, it's a catastrophic year for Anthony Volpe, statistical wise.
Yeah, and I
And
think anyone that's close to my age and you're on social media, you'll know that Anthony Volpe might be the most made fun of player right now in Major League Baseball. I think I probably see at least 10 Anthony Volpe memes a day on Instagram. It gets a little out of hand at times, but this does make a lot of sense. It does kind of explain some of the issues he's dealt with because obviously whether it's affecting whatever your swing or defense, whatever it is, it's in the back of your mind and it's something that you're thinking about constantly too, and you're not 100%. But the weird thing that I take out of this, and there's something I could be missing in the story as well, is how come this is just barely, if you heard it months ago, how come this is the first time they were saying about it? Like, is this just a Yankees thing? Like, I remember like the Rizzo concussion thing where he was playing through a concussion for over a month before it even came to the public or even came that, okay, we need to bench this guy. I mean, like everyone was wondering why Rizzo was so bad last year, or whatever it was, when he was just awful and he couldn't hit the ball as well, and everyone was giving him shit and saying, what is he doing in the lineup every single day? He can't play baseball at this point. Then it comes out he has a concussion. I just don't get if this is a Yankees thing or if this is just a crazy coincidence here, but it's just kind of odd that two Yankees players in the last couple of years have been injured for over long periods of time and then have not been playing good, and it comes out that they've been hurt the whole time.
yeah, and talking Yanks, they did a segment on this week, and I thought it was really well addressed. Like they are diehard Yankee guys. Like they're the same way. Like obviously, I'm a diehard Yankee fan, but those guys are like in diehard. Like they're the next step, and it's mismanagement. It's like in 2025, Hagen, like we have people like able to do crazy medical surgeries nowadays. And like the stories you hear, if you have anyone in the medical field, about what they're able to do, like storing parts of your skeleton in your stomach, like your skull and your stomach, for like to harvest it if it got injured in an accident and stuff like that. It's like you got a concussion and you can't diagnose it. And like I know concussions are, they're not really a diagnosed thing, like in terms of a disease, like, how I'm saying it's very like, how are you feeling, touchy go subject. And I've never had a concussion, so I can't explain it as well as the next or someone who has. But it's very much like, how are you feeling today? Like I do coach high school lacrosse kids. They do get concussions. They'll tell us like, hey, I'm still feeling fuzzy. I'm still not seeing well. I can't see the ball. I'm getting headaches. I'm not supposed to be on the light. Guess what? Most baseball games, when are they, Hagen? They're during the day. They're based like it's during the summer. That could not have been good for Rizzo. I love your point bringing it up. And Volpe, the same thing. I don't know what the situation was. Maybe he told them, "Hey, it's not as bad as it looks," or whatever, and he sucked it up. But this is like, now that it's come out, and it's also come out the same season while you're still playing. It's like, this is a really bad look for the Yankees. Physical management staff. In my opinion, I would love to hear some answers on what the causation was with that, and I don't want BS answers like, "Oh, we said he was fine." Like, it's pretty bad, like the stats wise, and it just shows. Let's talk about Blue Jays outfielder Anthony Santander. To move forward, he is on a rehab assignment with AAA Buffalo. He's been out since May 29th with a shoulder injury. So Blue Jays could be getting even better than they've already been, which is kind of scary to think about. Anthony Santander is a real ball player. The Rangers, we mentioned this already about Garcia. He's back. He had a strained right quadriceps, but he's back from the IL. The Cubs, they recalled Moises Ballesteros, their catcher - first base - utility hitter from AAA. So this is according to Sahadev Sharma of The Athletic. I'm excited to see him play a little bit. He's known for his hit tool. Washington, they activated Mackenzie Gore. He was red hot to begin the season. 15-day IL. He's been out with shoulder inflammation. It makes sense that that was going on as the stats weren't showing up anymore. Do you think that the Nationals being eliminated now, do you think this was the smart time to bring it back, or do you think that with shoulder inflammation, just let Mackenzie Gore have the rest of the year off? That was my first thought when I saw this.
I feel like I usually would have said just let the guy have the year off, but I think for someone in Mackenzie Gore's case where he had a lot of success, and then obviously he had almost the two seasons where obviously he was one of the best strikeout pitchers in baseball before he got hurt, before he even went downhill this year. I think it's important though for these pitchers. I was a big advocate on why I was like big on Degrom this year. Besides me putting a lot of Degrom bias in there, a big reason why is because I think it's very important for pitchers to have a full healthy offseason and not just be a continuation of your rehab. Like I think it's important for him to go out there, even if he only gets one start. If he gets 1 to 2 starts, go out there. Just to know he ended his season in a normal routine out there. I think it's very important to go through that and then hit the off season instead of just if they just shut a season down and it already started. I just think it's a very important thing.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I just thought like you're eliminated. This is your talented, like your one starter that you know that you have confidence in. Maybe they have another one for next year they have confidence in, but like realistically, like you're starting with your young guys. You got this big youth movement going on with James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Eli Willits will be up in a few years. A few other guys I got in on the roster right now. I just figured why not preserve him and try and make pieces work in the offseason when you go and acquire some veteran talent to add to that youth movement. The last thing I want to talk about, and I'll let you kind of lead this one. Orioles, they supposedly this was under the radar, but they promoted President Mike Elias was promoted to the president of baseball operations prior to this year beginning. So Elias, he's a 42-year-old. He had been Baltimore's executive vice president and GM since November 2018. So that's 7 years. He was hired to, make this massive organizational shift and rebuild for the organization. Hagen, one, is this a good hire? Two, do you think he's done enough in 7 years? 7 years is a long time. It's not like a short leash, especially given the way this season's been going.
I mean, it's hard because they've dealt with a lot of injuries lately, and I think obviously that yes, they could have signed more starting pitchers here, but I always, even when they didn't sign pitchers last year, it was what are they going to do next offseason when there's a lot more pitchers on the market, a lot better pitchers on the market, especially when it pertains to starting pitching. So I think it's going to be a big offseason to really tell if he does enough, but where this organization was when he took over was in a very bad spot. I mean, if you just look at this whole core, he's brought this whole core to this organization. I know haven't been the best. I know we talked about earlier in the year that this could be a full collapse and a bad rebuild if they don't do anything out of this. They only had the one really, really good season. But I think he has done an overall a very good job on at least getting this organization, when you look back at when he was first hired, getting them to a good place where they can contend. I know this year is not the case, but also your best pitcher hadn't even thrown a single pitch this year. You've had a lot of injuries to this team. And I think it's almost just, it's been for months now, since about like May, that it's like, we'll just regroup and get ready for next year. So I think next year is a big tell on how he's really going to do his job, which sucks to put ever since 2018, to put all how good has your job been over that time into one season. But I think he has done a pretty good job to getting the Orioles to where they are as an organization at this point now. Yes, he's made some mistakes. I'm not saying he's perfect by any means, but he has have the Orioles in a pretty good situation as a franchise going forward.
Fair enough. I think that's a good way to put it on the Orioles' decision making here. And then finally, one last take. So saw this, Cole Jackson of MLB.com put together a really good piece. And this was based off franchises who've had extended winning season streaks. So meaning how many winning seasons have you put together in a row? The Dodgers now have their 15th straight winning season. Where that racks up in the all times right here. So I'm going to list these out and you're going to listen. It's just crazy to think about these runs that some of these teams have had. So the number one team of all time with the most, winning seasons in a row was the 1926 through 1964 Yankees, 39 straight years of winning seasons, which is unheard of these days, clearly, as the Dodgers are joining this with 15. Number 2, the Yankees back from 93 to 2025. It's an active streak. They're at 33 straight seasons with winning records, which is also really hard to believe, especially like I don't know if you even remember this. Judge's first year, you realize like Judge and Gary Sanchez were like the only offense the Yankees really had that year. Do you remember that youth movement year? It was like a really fun year to watch as like Yankees. Like they kept the streak alive though. And they were rookies and sophomores. The Orioles from 68 to 85, 18 straight years in a row of winning ball games. The 51 to 67 White Sox had 17 seasons. The 67 to 82 Red Sox had 16 seasons. And then there's a 5-way tie between the current Dodgers, the 2008 through 2022 Cardinals, the 39 through 53 Cardinals, the 91 through 2005 Braves, and then the 1899 through 1913 Pirates with 15 straight seasons of winning baseball. Boy, don't the Pirates probably wish they could turn back the clock a little bit. Hagen, how impressive is this for the Dodgers? This is insane. Like as an organization, they have to be talked about the way that the Yankees are talked about in terms of historical, dominance and run here.
I mean, it's an incredible feature as a franchise to be in a situation like this, where honestly, if you asked most GMs, I would think in Major League Baseball, their goal is you would rather be a sustainable winner. Like the GMs talk about it, and the president of baseball operations talk about it is, yes, you want to win a World Series every single year you can, but they would much rather just be. You have to be a sustainable winner and have to be a winning team every single year. Have the farm system be able to bring guys up to contribute to the team, be able to trade them off at the deadline and not have it hurt your farm system too much, to add talent to the team at the deadline and stay a good team. Obviously, you got to have some payroll to stay with that too a little bit, but you got to be a perennial winner, and I think that's a big part of it. Or obviously, the Dodgers, but before last year, they were a perennial winner. I mean, this is their 15th winning season. It took them their 14th winning season to get the World Series out of it without the COVID year in there. So it's just an incredible spot for the Dodgers to see. And I think it just shows, too, that, yes, you want to win a World Series. It doesn't happen overnight. Obviously, you have the teams like the Nationals that were just kind of the one and the dones there. But it's also, I think that most clubs' goal is to be this sustainable winner like the Dodgers. I mean, the Dodgers are a model for multiple teams. Like for multiple teams right now with new GMs who are out there, they're looking at what the Dodgers are doing and they say that's what we want to do. So I think it just shows a good point of what their Dodgers are at as a franchise right now.
Yeah, and to your point, this is what frustrates me with how fans approach the game in all sports. You play to win, right? And like for instance, you know this. I'm a Purdue basketball. I went to Purdue. I'm a Purdue football and basketball fan. Unfortunately for football, but basketball. I and my friends hate me for this. I have a very pessimistic look at Purdue basketball because I expect them to win titles, and I know they're good enough to do it. They haven't done it yet. They have not done it yet. Teams like the Yankees and Dodgers, there are moves that they make year in, year out that I question, especially the Yankees. We'll hone in on them. How many old, aging veterans do they take the contracts on or sign to ridiculous contracts? How, A-Rod, Stanton. Like we could go all day naming contracts and people that they brought on. But look at Paul Goldschmidt. He's like 38 years old or however old he is. Like they just do this all the time. And like the AJ Burnett's of the world, Randy Johnson, how many Ichiro, how many guys have the Yankees brought in after their prime was done? And Jacoby Ellsbury. The list goes on and on and on. But you know what? The one thing that people don't appreciate is the Yankees are playing to win every year. And sometimes it's taking a bet. If you want to win, if you want to win big, you got to bet big. So it is what it is. It's really impressive for the Dodgers. It's more of a, kudos to them as well. On top of them going out and getting players, their farm system is also elite. They're running a baseball team the proper way right now. That's my final take. Hagen, anything else from you?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a crazy stat that I was looking at into this morning that I posted earlier. Was it was Julio Rodriguez, where it was he leads Major League Baseball this year with 169 plate appearances that start in an 0-2 count. Which I was like, that seems like a lot to start with an 0-2 count. Which, matter of fact, it's 25% of his plate appearances all this year have started in an 0-2 count, which I thought was unbelievable. And to no surprise, he has not been good in those situations. He's hitting almost below 200 in those. I believe 206 is what he's hitting in those situations.
I wonder how much of that comes in the first half rather than the second. Like, is he too patient, and that's what gets him buried in 0-2 counts? Like, is he it like also the numbers of swinging strikes to get there versus like watched balls? That's super
Yeah,
interesting, though. I think we should look into that because that's crazy, actually.
I can for sure get it to you next time for the difference between the first half and the second half on that.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned earlier in the episode, go follow us, go subscribe if you want to give Hagen, I, and some of our other writers some, warranted funds to help us continue churning articles out and producing the podcast and such. It's $5, I think, a month, if that, or $40 for the year. It's something very cheap. We don't do ads, but we are out. Thank you for listening, and hopefully we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again. Bye.